What is your current system? Do you record when you feel like it? Do you record when it's convenient? How many episodes have you missed? If not, strong work. If you have missed, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Let's use that as an opportunity to avoid missing in the future, because one of the first episodes we ever did, I believe, was consistency, talking about the importance of consistency. Podcast Growth Nation, welcome back to another episode of Podcast Growth University, where we talk all things podcasting all the time. I hope you enjoyed the latest episode number 64. Should you ever pay someone to help you with your podcast? No, especially if they reach out and say they can help you get 1 million downloads in a month. Probably a dangerous game. Today, for episode number 65, the best way to schedule your recordings so you never miss an episode. One of the questions I get asked most often when I go on other podcasts is, how have you guys stayed so consistent? And it's a very loaded question, because at this point, it just is a way of life, and I can't imagine not recording a bunch of episodes on Monday. And that's a little hint of what we're going to talk about today. But it's a loaded question in many different ways, because it's not like it was in the beginning for us. We learned a lot of lessons along the way, and now we have some extra accountability and extra necessity. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about creating your own schedule that works best for you so you never miss an episode. For most people, that tends to look like choosing a single day of the week, and this is for solo episodes, choosing a single day of the week and blocking that day/time off. So if you work a normal job and you're at the office or whatever it may be, maybe it's not during the week, or maybe it's 6 p.m. every single Monday. It's on the calendar and nothing gets booked over it. Or maybe it's on the weekend. If you don't want to record after a long day of work, maybe you do it Saturday at 11 a.m. before you go out and do your grocery shopping, or 9 a.m. on Saturday before you go out and do your grocery shopping, or Sunday before you go to church, or whatever it may be. You're taking that time and you're guaranteeing that it remains a priority. One of the most common things I've seen is people forget to record their podcast episode because it's not scheduled. It's just not that big of a priority. Now, when it comes to guest episodes, that's even more challenging, because it's not just your calendar you're relying on, it's your calendar and someone else's calendar. What you can do is you can have, let's just say you have 3 slots throughout the week. And if you're messaging enough guests on a consistent basis, I'm sure somebody will be able to get into one of those slots and it should work fine. But when it comes to solo episodes specifically, because here's the thought. In an ideal world, you would do the same thing in the same way every single week. So you would do, let's just say hypothetically, you do a guest episode on week 1, a solo episode on week 2, guest episode on week 3, solo episode on week 4. Worst case scenario, you miss your guest episode and you say, okay, well, I know I'm not going to be able to get a guest this week. Let me do this. Let me record my episode on Monday like I normally would. That way you don't miss. If that Monday recording is there every single week, the odds of you missing are just far lower. Now, what I always tell clients, and this has worked really well in the past, if you're going to drop your episodes on Wednesday, let's just say, so you're in the early stages and or the pre-stages of your podcast, and you're saying, okay, what episode should I drop, or what day should I drop my episode? In terms of the statistics, I don't really think it matters that much, honestly. I would say go from what works for you best. So this is what I always say. If we're going to drop our episode on a Wednesday, I would also suggest that Wednesday is the day that you can do social media promotion, as well as Wednesday is also a day you can record. That way you're always ahead a week. So let's just say you're ready to launch, or you're currently doing episodes, and maybe right now you're just recording whenever. Your episodes drop Wednesday, hypothetically. What I would do is next time you record an episode, record 2 episodes, and then start recording every Wednesday. So the day an episode drops, you're actually recording next week's episode. Now, even better, if you can get ahead, that's amazing. Another question I get asked very often is, how far ahead should I be/can I be? Should you be? It depends on the level of certainty you want around your episodes. How far can you be? That's totally up to you, especially if you're doing solo episodes, because when you're doing solo episodes, you don't necessarily have to mention what day it is. You don't have to necessarily have a guest on who has something to promote or says something that has to do with the time of the year or whatever it may be. You can go in and say, well, this episode's probably not going to drop for 2 months. Let me just make sure I'm very open-ended with all the things I say. You can get 8 episodes saved. You can get 10 episodes saved. You can get 12 episodes saved, whatever works best for you. But the system is usually what dictates whether or not we're going to stay ahead. So the system we run is we record 7 episodes on Monday, and it doesn't always happen. Honestly, it rarely happens where we get all the episodes done, but since it's a priority for us, we just book it for the rest of the week. But that works really well for us because on my Monday, I have a calendar block from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. every single Monday. You can't book a coaching call with me. You can't book me on a podcast. I don't do speeches on Monday. Monday is for recording. Now, we did a $5,000 speech recently. If they wanted it done on a Monday, we would have done it on a Monday, but they didn't. Then we would have moved things and we would be flexible with that. But for us, every single week, Monday, it's just blocked off. It's blocked off, blocked off. For Podcast Growth U, Thursday, I have an hour slot on my calendar from 2 to 3 every single week. You can't book over it. Now, eventually, I'll move that closer to Monday, or I'll try to get ahead, because right now I'm doing the week of for that episode, and I know it's a pain in the butt for the team, and I want to make their life easier, not harder. But things have been stretched very thin, so this episode's actually dropping tomorrow.
Hi there, this is Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and I am the host of the Business of Happiness podcast, which would not be in existence were it not for the one and only incredible Kevin Palmieri. Seriously, I am so indebted to Kevin for the service that he provides. Every week he meets with me. He has been coaching me on how to initiate and launch this podcast. He helped me put it together with his great expertise, and every week his whole team works tirelessly to get these podcasts uploaded to Buzzsprout and to deliver my content to my audience. I am so grateful. I couldn't say enough about him. In fact, we've been working together so well. I've seen so much wonderful input from my listeners and asking me for more that in just a few weeks, we're going to be doubling the number of podcasts we produce per week. So this trajectory is just flying, and I'm really enjoying the whole process. So I couldn't say enough about him. Please, if this is something you're considering, I highly recommend him. And reach out to me anytime if you have any questions about our experience. Good luck. Bye-bye.
But I still have that time. Nobody can book on my calendar. It's always blocked. I also understand that my life is probably different, where I work from home and I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business owner and I don't have to go anywhere. And this is what I do for a living. So the priority number one for me is myself and my family. Priority number 2 is the podcast and the business. So that's very, very high at the top of my list. For you, I completely understand that it might not be that way yet. That's why it might have to be a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday night or whatever night works best for you, whatever morning works best for you. My advice would be make sure it's something that can be recurring for as long as humanly possible, because then you get into the habit. And what else are you going to do? If you have that time blocked off and you know you should be podcasting, you lose all the excuses that come with not doing it. Life happens, of course. Things happen, of course. Tragedies happen, of course. Circumstances happen. But it's better to have that option at least. It's better to have that time blocked off so you know, okay, today is Thursday. Let me think about what I want to talk about. And then when you are mindful of that, you might have better stories, or you might have different questions for the guests, or whatever it may be. So in an ideal world, you would pick one day, and that calendar or that day or that hour or however many hours would get blocked off every single week. And if you had the same system for guests, I would say if you had 3 to 5 slots available every single week, that's a really good way to go. But you got to message a lot of people. It's different now. I think it's easier now than it's ever been, because you can go on Podmatch or Matchmaker, or I think it's I don't know, there's another one, Pod Connect or something. And you can message someone and say, hey, I'd love to have you on my show. Are you available tomorrow? And they might be. So it's easier than it's ever been to do that. I just would not rely on that, because if somebody says, no, I can't do it, but I can do it next week, that's probably not the best, right? Especially if you want to get an episode out that week. And then last thing, if you're doing one episode a week and you're very big on the promotion in terms of social media, I would do the recording of the episode on the same day the episode drops next week, so you can also do the promotion that day as well. If you're somebody who maybe you have an interesting schedule where you work 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, or something like that. Is that 7 days? Yeah. That one day could be your day to record the episode drops from the previous week, and you can do social media. That way, if you do get engagement, you can follow up on it, that type of thing. You can also schedule your guest interviews that day, if possible. So that's really the meat of it. Is you have to be as proactive as you can, because life is going to happen, and very rarely is it convenient to record a podcast episode. My wife and I are going out to dinner. She said she wants to take me out to dinner after this. If this wasn't on the calendar, it would be a dangerous game, because I would have said, well, let's just go out to dinner and I'll figure it out later. Maybe I'll do it when I get home. Maybe not. What if I forget? The best way to keep something top of mind is to keep it on your calendar, because I don't expect everybody to have this running through their brain 24/7. Got to record next episode. Got to record next episode. Sometimes we forget. But one of the reasons we've been able to get to 66 episodes here without missing, but 1,450 some odd without missing. And we missed in the beginning. In the very beginning, we were not as nearly as consistent as we are today. But once we started doing 4, 5, 6, 7 a week, we never missed after that. It was because we had the system. The system is what's going to keep you on track, regardless of emotion, most likely regardless of circumstance. So that would be my question for you. Whether you're watching or listening, what is your current system? Do you record when you feel like it? Do you record when it's convenient? How many episodes have you missed? If not, strong work. If you have missed, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Let's use that as an opportunity to avoid missing in the future, because one of the first episodes we ever did, I believe, was consistency, talking about the importance of consistency. My wife and I one time went to a restaurant. We were on vacation. We were away, and we went to this restaurant. We were super excited to eat because we were very hungry. And when we went to walk up to the door, the restaurant was closed. I don't know if there was the chef was sick or something like that. And we ended up going to another restaurant, and we liked that restaurant. So we most likely are never going to visit the initial restaurant that we wanted to, because we found a place we liked. I understand people are sick, and I'm not saying that's a negative thing. But what I am saying is, if you don't drop your episode on Wednesday at noon like you have every single week prior, and your audience wants to consume a podcast, they're going to go find another one. And if they resonate more with that other one, they might not come back to you, unfortunately. So we have to do everything in our power to make sure we're where the audience is when they're ready to listen to us. And sometimes that is a lot of pressure. Sometimes that is a lot of planning. Sometimes that's a lot of logistics. Sometimes that's saying no to things that we want to do because we want to say yes to things that we'll be grateful that we said yes to in the future. So I hope that helps. Again, always my DMs are open. My email's kevin@nextleveluniverse.com. That's always open. If you have any questions about this, please do not ever hesitate to reach out. And as always, we will have the link in the show notes for a free 30-minute podcast breakthrough session. I did many this week, and this week. Last week I did not. It's been a very, very busy week with podcast breakthrough sessions, but I'm learning so much about what people are struggling with, what people are winning with, what are the common limiting beliefs, what are the most empowering beliefs. So if it feels like it's time, and maybe you've listened to enough episodes, or maybe you feel like you have the courage, book it and let's chat. And again, my goal is always to add as much value as humanly possible. Let's see. Next week for episode number 66, 3 questions early podcasters need to ask themselves. And not just early podcasters. Maybe you feel like you're in a rut. Maybe you feel like you're crushing it right now. these 3 questions will apply to anybody who is podcasting. I wish I knew these questions a lot sooner, because I ask my clients these questions and it really helps me understand a lot of things and how to lead effectively. So those 3 questions that we ask next week will help you lead yourself, your podcast, and your business more effectively. As always, I appreciate you all very, very, very much. This genuinely is a dream for me to have a podcast about podcasts. I never knew any of this was going to be what it is. It blows my mind and it humbles me daily, but I'm eternally grateful for every single one of you that listens to this, and I hope it's valuable. And I'm always open to feedback. That's what I want. I want feedback so I can help you at a deeper level. There will be positive reviews, there will be negative reviews, but I do want the feedback, and it helps me get better. And hopefully the better I get, the more I can help. And that's exactly what I want for me. And that's also what I want for you. I want you to continue to get better so you can help, whatever that means. Help make people laugh, help make people make more money, whatever your podcast is about. So as always, I love you. I appreciate you. Until next week, keep on podcasting, keep on crushing it, and we will see you soon.